We're reading from Caitanya Caritamrita. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We are on Adi Lila, chapter 4, text 162. Gopi Ganera Premera Ruddha Bhavana Vishuddha Nirmala Prema Kabu Nahe Kam. The love of the gopis is called Ruddha Bhav. It is pure and spotless. It is not at any time lust. So we are trying to hear about the third desire that Krishna had. The internal reason that why he came as Lord Chaitanya. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. As already explained, the position of the gopis in their loving dealings with Krishna is transcendental. Their emotion is called Ruddha Bhav. Ruddha Bhav. Although it is apparently like mundane sex, one should not confuse it with mundane sexual love, for it is pure and unadulterated love of Godhead. So the love between the gopis and Krishna, it is pure and it is spotless and it is not lust. It is not based on mundane sex desire as we know it. So this is a totally transcendental relationship. And the origin of it is love, because of the loving feelings and emotions that they have. Premeva Gopa Ramanam Kama iti agamat pratham iti uddha vadayo api etam vanchanti bhagavad priyaha. The pure love of the gopis has become celebrated by the name lust. The dear devotees of the Lord, headed by Sri Uddhav, desire to taste that love. This is a verse from the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu 1.2.285. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu is the work of Srila Rupa Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, and which Srila Prabhupada compiled it as Nectar of Devotion. That the gopis' love is so pure, is so high that even Uddhav wants to taste. He wants to taste what the gopis are feeling. Kama prema don hakar vibhina lakshana lauha ar hema yaiche swarupe vilakshana. Lust and love have different characteristics, just as iron and gold have different natures. One should try to discriminate between sexual love and pure love, for they belong to different categories with a gulf of difference between them. They are as different from one another as iron is from gold. So the comparison is being given. Sexual love is like iron, and the pure love, which exists between the spirit soul and Krishna, that is completely spiritual. It's like gold. There is nothing mundane or lusty or sexual in that. So Atmendriya Priti Vancha Tare Balikam, Krishnendriya Priti Icha Dare Premanam. The desire to gratify one's own senses is calm lust, but the desire to please the senses of Lord Krishna is prema, love. So here now further information is given. What is lust and what is love? When we are trying to satisfy our senses, it is lust. And when we are trying to satisfy the senses of Krishna, then that is love. The revealed scriptures describe pure love as follows. Sarvatha dvamsha rahitam sati api dvamsha karane yad bhava bandhanam yunoho sa prema parikirtitaha, if there is ample reason for the dissolution of a conjugal relationship, and yet such a dissolution does not take place, such a relationship of intimate love is called pure. So the scriptures, they are giving the definition. What is pure love? That if there is ample reason for the dissolution of a conjugal relationship, that there is enough reason that this relationship should not be going on, it should be broken, yet this relation continues, it continues. Such a relationship of intimate love is called pure. So because it's stemming from purity, then that's the reason it continues. That's the reason it's able to withstand all the other negative forces. The predominated gopis were bound to Krishna in such pure love. For them, there was no question of sexual love based on sense gratification. Their only engagement in life was to see Krishna happy in all respects, regardless of their own personal interests. They dedicated their souls only for the satisfaction of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. There was not the slightest tinge of sexual love between the gopis and Krishna. So the mood of the gopis, the mood is, how can I please Krishna? I want to see Krishna happy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens to me, as long as Krishna is happy. And that's to bring out this mood of the gopis. There was this pastime that Narad Muni went to Krishna, and so he asked Krishna who's the greatest devotee. So Krishna told him, okay, go tell all my devotees I have a headache, you'll come to know. And the only way my headache will go is if somebody gives me the dust of their feet. So Narad Muni went to the Brahmanas who were doing all the yagyas and the pujas, and they said, oh, Krishna has a headache. Can you please give us some of your dust so that, his headache can be gone? The Brahmana said, how can we do that? You want us to go to hell? We can't do that. No, you just want us to engage in sinful activity? We can't do that. So like that, Narad Muni went to different devotees, and finally he came to the gopis, and all the devotees refused. And finally he came to the gopis, and the gopis said, oh, Krishna has a headache. Take how much dust you want. Take bucketfuls of dust. Doesn't matter. So Narad Muni is like, you're not scared? You're going to go to hell? So Gopi said, even if we are able to relieve Krishna of his headache, even for a moment, we are willing to burn in hell for eternity. So their love for Krishna is so much, they don't care about themselves, what happens to them. They only want to see Krishna happy. So this is love, not sexual, not lust, or not anything to do with mundane sex. The author of Sri Caitanya Caritamrita asserts with authority that sexual love is a matter of personal sense enjoyment. All the regulative principles in the Vedas pertaining to desires for popularity, fatherhood, wealth, and so on are different phases of sense gratification. So what is personal sense gratification? Our desire to become popular. They should see how great I am. I'm so good. Desire for becoming parents. Desire for wealth. So all this is personal sense gratification. Acts of sense gratification may be performed under the cover of public welfare. Nationalism, religion, altruism, ethical codes, biblical codes, health directives, fruitive action, bashfulness, tolerance, personal comfort, liberation from material bondage, progress, family affection, or fear of social ostracism or legal punishment. So now, sense gratification, we are talking about lust, right? sense gratification. Now it's said that sense gratification can be performed under the cover of public welfare. Or we might think we are doing public welfare, but what's our intention behind it? What's our motive behind it? You know, why am I being such a nationalist? Why am I being such a religionist? What is altruism? What is this ethical codes that I'm speaking about? What is this tolerance that I'm doing? What is the personal comfort? Of course, outrightly it is sense gratification. But progress, family affection, liberation from material bondage, all these are categories, subdivisions of one substance, sense gratification. So all this comes under sense gratification. All such good acts are performed basically for one's own sense gratification, for no one can sacrifice his personal interest while discharging these much advertised moral and religious principles. So what it means is that always we keep our personal interest in heart. Although we might give these different labels that I'm being very religious, I'm being very ethical, I'm being a nationalist, or I'm being tolerant, but we have personal interest. Then, if there is personal interest involved behind anything that we do, then that is sense gratification. We could package it nicely. We could package it under a very nice label, but if it's stemming from personal interest, then it is sense gratification. But above all this is its transcendental stage in which one feels himself to be only an eternal servitor of Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead. So above this, so now we might say, oh, but I'm always, of course, I have to look out for my personal interest, you know, that otherwise who's going to do it? Yeah, then that's the reason we are here in this material world, in this material body, you know, because we have this desire to enjoy separate from Krishna. That is what our material life is about. But beyond this, we are being given information. Okay, right now we are here, but there is another stage, a transcendental stage. And in the transcendental stage, then what is the devotee feeling? I'm just the eternal servant of Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead. All acts performed in this sense of servitude are called pure love of God, because they are performed for the absolute sense gratification of Sri Krishna. So this is love. When it's performed for the satisfaction of Krishna, it is love. When it is being satisfied for my satisfaction, it is sense gratification. It is lust. That's the difference. However, any act performed for the purpose of enjoying its fruits or results is an act of sense gratification. Such actions are visible, sometimes in gross and sometimes in subtle forms. So any activity, then we'll say, oh, but that's what I do. That's my whole intention, to enjoy my senses. I'm always trying to enjoy my senses on a gross or subtle level. What do I do? So we are being informed that there is another stage in which the devotee is at such a state. That's the pure stage. That's our original stage, where we want to act only for the pleasure of Krishna. Now, how do we go from where we are to the desired position? Right now, I'm doing everything for my sense gratification. But I hear that there is this transcendental platform where everything is done for Krishna's sense gratification. And so I want to progress towards that. And what do I do then? So we hear and chant. Hearing and chanting. Hearing and chanting is pleasing to Krishna. Hearing and chanting for the pleasure of Krishna. Then gradually, then we will get purified of the material desires. Is that okay? Okay, so we'll stop here for today then. Shri Caitanya Caritamrita ki jai, Shila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.